Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own moss garden slash little plant terrarium. It's really easy and it's a really nice way to bring nature into your home, especially during the winter months when there aren't things growing outside. Yeah, so here we go. The first step of this project is to go find yourself some moss. Moss is growing literally everywhere. It grows at the base of tree trunks a lot. It might even just be in your backyard. Sometimes it's just growing on the sidewalk. You can literally find it anywhere. A really great place to find moss is on hiking trails. That's where I found all the moss for my moss gardens. And yeah, so I'm going to show you that now. So I'm currently at the 6 Mile Creek Wildflower Preserve Trail. And there's a ton of moss everywhere. So hiking trails are a really good place to find moss. I just found some here, attached to this rock. And I brought a plastic bag to put my moss in. Let's see what else we can find. I try to only take a little bit from each spot because I do feel a little bit like I'm stealing from the earth. This moss has some little plants growing out of it. I don't know if they will survive when I put them in my terrarium, but we'll find out. Step number 2 is to find a vessel for your moss garden. You can use any old jar. I'm using this old pickle jar today. You can also use containers like this, which are really great because you can set them on their sides and they won't roll around. I also have this funky little jar that is a hexagon, and this will sit easily on its side as well, which makes for a great moss garden. So once you have your jar, there's a few other things you're going to need to collect. You're going to need some rocks to put on the bottom of the jar. I got these from my driveway. They're like that size. You're also going to need potting soil, and if you don't have potting soil, you can just get some dirt from outside. I'm sure that will work too. And I also have some peat moss, sphagnum peat moss, which I got from Lowe's. And this is not like super important to the process, but it does help. So if you don't have peat moss, it will probably be fine. And potting soil or just soil that you find outside should work just as well. Another thing you might want for your moss garden is some stones or like decorations to put inside of it. And I have like this little crystal geode kind of thing, this stone here, these little like Mancala beads, I guess is what they're called. I have a couple of those that I'm probably gonna put in, and I also have this really, really tiny plastic snake that I'm probably gonna put in, and a really tiny plastic lizard. So if you have any little decorations that you want to put in, also go and collect those. All right, so once you have all your materials, materials being a jar with a lid, some pebbles or stones to put on the bottom, some potting soil, and some decorations to put on the top if you want, and of course, your moss. I have my moss in here from my hike a few days ago. So once you have all of these things collected, you're ready to begin. All right, so step number 1 is to add stones into your jar. And you want this layer of stones to fully cover the bottom. It doesn't have to be too thick because we do have to fit the soil and the moss in there as well. Here's what mine looks like so far. And as you can see, this is rolling a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is take some like sticky tack material. If you just have tape, that's fine too. But you can put it on your surface and then stick the jar to it, and it should stay in place a little bit better. All right, so next we're gonna add some peat moss. And again, if you don't have peat moss, that's okay. Regular soil should work fine. The reason that I'm putting peat moss in here is because it keeps the regular potting soil from falling down into the rocks. And it also helps to bring moisture up from the rocks into the moss. And if you do have peat moss, you only need enough to cover the rocks. It doesn't have to be a thick layer. Okay. So once you have your peat moss in there, if you have peat moss, you can add your potting soil or soil that you got from outside. This layer of soil only needs to be like half an inch thick. Moss has a really shallow root system, so they don't really need to root down very deep. So once your soil is in the jar, you are ready to add some moss. All right, so here's my giant mound moss. Now you pretty much just have to start placing the moss in the jar wherever you want. If the soil that you're using is not damp, you should give it a little spray with a spray bottle just to make it easier for the moss to be acclimated into its new home. Alright, so I am done putting all of my little decorations in, and here is what it looks like. Once you're done adding in your decorations, you should give it a couple sprays with a spray bottle, and then put the lid of your jar on, and you're done. Moss gardens are pretty self-sustaining. They don't require that much maintenance because all the moisture is held in the jar once you put the lid on. They do need to be sprayed every once in a while, but for the most part, you can just kind of leave them be and watch them grow.